Well, hi, and welcome back to Day 2. This is Module 2. Today is Foundational Skill 3, and I call it the Big H&L of Faster Learning. Before we begin, here's a quick recap of Module 1 to make it more memorable. We did a quick overview of Foundational Skill 2, which is knowing your learning styles. You discovered that once you know your learning style, you can tap into its power and do two things. Personalize your learning based on it and choose from the various learning style traits depending on what the learning situation calls for. And of course, we'll definitely cover this much more in depth a bit later in the course. All right, today let's talk about Foundational Skill 3, the big H&L of learning. Do you remember when I mentioned in Foundational Skill 1 on vision why how you perceive what is on the printed page is so important? That's because some people see the words differently, maybe skip lines, easily forget what they just read, or even add words that are not there. Well, the same is true for the big H, which means hearing, and the big L, which is language. When you're learning by listening or hearing something, such as a podcast or a person speaking, how you hear what is said is really important because just like vision, not everyone hears in precisely the same way. In other words, they may perceive what they hear differently than you do. Here's an example. Have you ever been on the phone talking and someone else in the room tries to speak with you at the same time? Or how about in a noisy restaurant and you can't attend to the person across the table because there is so much other noise around you, so you miss a lot of what they are saying, or their words sound muffled? How does it feel having two people talking to you at once? Does it seem like it affects your conversation and your concentration? Do you feel like you miss parts of what either person is saying because you can't concentrate on both of them at once? Plus, maybe later you find out you can't really remember too much about what you heard. Well, here's why. Hearing involves the ability to hear clearly, just like your eyesight. Plus, you have to make meaning out of what you hear. Speaking is your ability to produce language and communicate your message. But if something gets in the way of either of those things, you could feel confused, and this might create a roadblock to learning. So imagine you're in a lecture, a classroom, in the workplace, or even a large lecture hall. Sometimes you may not be able to focus on the main person speaking because there's so much other noise going on around you.